What's up Nerfers, and welcome back to my channel, where it's probably hard to see on camera, but it's very foggy and cold today. Anyway, Nerf rifling attachments. We all use them, we all attach them to our barrels. They add spin to the darts as they leave the muzzle, increasing accuracy at both long range and making it easier to hit smaller, harder to hit targets at close range. But how much have they improved over time? Today I'll be comparing a 7-year-old design against some new kids on the block out of Singapore. Let's take a closer look at them all. This is the Blastertech MK2 SCAR Barrel, which I first made a video on back in 2017. What's up guys? This is a quick review of the new Blastertech version 2 SCAR Barrel. When it came out, it was an absolute game changer and it was the Nerf rifling to have. It's still available on Blastertech's website to this day for just under 20 kangaroos, and it's a 3D printed design with 6 strings of fishing line inside. Notably, those strings are adjusted in 1/16th increments, so you can actually vary the amount of spin you'd like by just rotating the tip, which clicks into place. Back in the day, I always found the quarter turn setting worked the best. That's 4 clicks from straight, so that's what I'll be using today. Located in the middle of the design, there's 4 ventilation ports to let out any excess muzzle blast, and the way it attaches to your barrel is a little primitive in that it fits on quite loosely, and then most people would just tape it into place to keep it from coming off. You could alternatively put some tape on your barrel to make that a bit tighter, but from memory most people would just use the tape on the outside like this. Now let's take a look at some of the more modern options. This right here is Gavin Fuzzy's brand new 15 bearing BCAR designed for higher FPS builds than his original 9 bearing design. I met Gavin at the ITE college game in Singapore, and he was using a high FPS version of the SBL2, so that explains the motive behind this new BCAR design. It has a CNC metal construction and attaches to a 16mm outer diameter barrel with a very snug friction fit, thanks to 2 inner O-rings that grip the barrel very tightly. You can find this one on Out of Dart's website for 76 kangaroos. Quite a step up in price compared to the $20 Australian Blastertech SCAR of old. And it also comes in a variety of colours if this dark grey one doesn't meet your requirements. Finally, I have another CNC Metal BCAR design to test today. This one was given to me thanks to Ideal Foam Blaster in Singapore, who I also met at ITE. Called the AccuBlu BCAR, this is an 18 bearing design that attaches using a threaded locking nut similar to a garden hose, making it even more secure than Gavin's friction fit, and that's already as snug as you realistically need. The bearings on this BCAR are also really small, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects the performance compared to Gavin's, which are larger. This one also comes in a variety of different colours, so if the black's too scary for you, you could get it in orange instead. They also included a 3D printed shroud to change up the look. By the way, you can also get shrouds for Gavin's BCAR. I just don't have one here to show you today. The AccuBlu can be found on Ideal Foam Blaster's website for 55 Singaporean dollars. Now that you've seen the 3 different Nerf riflings I'll be testing today, let's take a quick look at my blaster setup. I'll be using my Sabre Apex Prime. It's got a 700mm barrel, 16 kg spring installed, and the darts I'm using are Sabre's new 1.3 gram T darts, which defeated workers in last week's video, claiming the top spot for durability and accuracy. First up, the chrono test. First up, I've got the old Blastertech 3D printed SCAR barrel with the string rifling E-taped on there so it won't come off. Let's give it 7 shots. I expect this to be a little bit slower over the chrono than the BCARs will be, just due to the extra friction that string has over bearings. 283, 292, 285, 290, 287, 273, 303, that's all 7. Let's get this tape off of here and swap on one of the BCARs. The Gavin Fuzzy, nice and quick and easy to attach. Those 2 O-rings keep it snug on there, nice and tight. Let's see if this shoots a little bit hotter. 285, 272, 273. 281, 289, 293, 289, 284. That's all 7 of those. A little bit lower than the Blastertech's average, I think. Maybe these bearings are a little tighter. Finally, the AccuBlu, which uses a nice threaded locking nut, so I can screw that on there even tighter than Gavin's. Let's see how those smaller bearings perform. 287, 285, 283, 288, 297, 281, 290. I reckon that had a tiny bit higher FPS than Gavin's, but FPS means nothing if it can't hit a target. 3 guesses what the next test is. Over the Chrono, Blastertech SCAR and the AccuBlu BCAR both averaged 287 feet per second. Gavin's BCAR was a tiny bit slower at 284. 3 feet per second is practically nothing though, so for the sake of this test I'll call it a 3-way tie, which is a little surprising because I thought the string one would have more friction than the bearings do. That didn't seem to be the case with the Blastertech one, so I guess you learn something new every day. Now it's time for the accuracy test. Okay guys, keeping things exactly the same as last week, I'm going to be aiming at this skull at the top here, and by the time the darts reach the target, they should be hitting around the center. From the target, I'll be sitting 30 meters away using a sandbag as my rest. All right, first up I have the Blastertech SCAR, which I've taped on there. Just going to give it a quick turn, 4 clicks to the side, so that it has a 1/4 turn. Let's see how the 7-year-old tech holds up. Not bad. That was nice and central. A little bit more to the right, that one. Same with that. Still a pretty good grouping though for something that's like back in the days when I used to play in a public park and stuff. Although the T-darts are probably helping with that too. Bit of a step up over the old Gen 1 workers I used to use with this. Another one a little bit to the right there. Back to the center. Oh, some of these shots are just so spot on. That must be all 15. Let's take her off and put on Gavin's. Overall, quite impressed with what the old Blastertech's able to do. So no wonder that it's still sold on Dean's store. And it's so cost effective compared to all these CNC modern options that everyone's using. And of course, Gavin's just pushes straight on there with those 2 O-rings holding it in place. Another 15 shots. Lovely. Pretty much the same line, just up a bit higher. A little bit to the right of it. Back with one of the first shots, I think. Bit to the left, but actually in the bullseye. I think this might have a tiny bit tighter grouping than the Blastertech, but it's not that much different though. The Blastertech definitely seems to hold up well. That was a little more over to the right. Same with that. That's all 15 with Gavin's. Finally, I'll whack on the AccuBlu, which I think has the best fastening method. of course, being a threaded locking nut. And this allows it to suit like different tolerances of 16mm barrels. Some are anodized, some aren't, so they're a bit tighter or looser. With this, you can of course just tighten that a bit tighter for the smaller barrels. Let's see how it does with those smaller bearings. That wasn't bad at all. Oh, pretty much the same spot. A little bit higher. This one's looking good. Yeah. I think the results speak for themselves here. Not a whole lot to comment on. I think this is slightly better than Gavin's. Yeah, this is lovely. Like this is Saber BCAR levels of accuracy here. That one was a tiny bit lower, but the grouping itself is very small. I don't think I have to go back to the computer for that one. I think the AccuBlu wins, but I could be proven wrong when I examine the camera footage. The Blastertech SCAR shown in red shot a very nice 25cm wide, 45cm tall spread. I'd happily use this even to this day, a very impressive result from a 7-year-old product. Now, Gavin Fuzzy's BCAR shown in purple shot a 25cm wide, 25cm tall spread, which is absolutely incredible. Good job, Gavin, you've designed a great BCAR for your high FPS SPL2. But as good as this grouping was, it wasn't quite the winner of the day. Because the AccuBlu shown in, of course, blue, had a grouping only 20cm wide and 30cm tall. The exact dimensions of an A4 sheet of paper for your own reference at home. Compared to Gavin's BCAR, more of those shots were grouped up in the center, with only 2 outliers dropping low. I even put this one out to a vote for you guys at home, and the AccuBlu won unanimously, matching my own thoughts. Adding the Blastertech SCAR into the mix, aside from 2 shots that went lower than the rest, there's really not that much difference there either. So to answer the question of how far has Nerf rifling come, going from the 7-year-old 3D printed string style to the 2 modern metal ones with bearings, while there is a bit of an improvement, the difference isn't anywhere near as big as I thought it would be when I set out to make this video. Really, the innovations in the past few years have been the darts themselves, with these Saber T darts being the latest step up in performance. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. Find links to everything down below. Stay tuned for some bonus content, and at the very end there'll be 2 other videos you might enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe and all of that, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright fellas, I want you to all grab one of these darts each.
Oh, this is what I think.
And tell me how hard it is to rip the tips off.
Oh, that's a lot more.
Well, these are them T-darts, eh? Oh wow.
These are sturdy.
Those are
Yeah, that's sturdy.
fucking the foam stays with it.
Yeah, right
The
here.
foam stays with it.
The foam stays with it?
These 1.3s?
Yeah, those are the 1.3s.
These are the ones you previewed
1.3
in that
grams.
silent night.
You can have a go with them. You can reuse the same one multiple times because the heads don't come off.
Bloody hell.
That's what it is.
So grab a couple each and have some fun with them.
Cheers,
You
thank
can
you.
only get them through the distributor at the moment from Saber, right?
They're not even out yet.
Oh wow.
A couple more weeks, I think. Yeah, they're heavier than the green tip workers.
Yeah, nice. So that means it'll be even more accurate and,
I found, yeah. Even their 1 grammers were better than workers there.
oh bloody hell.
So they're actually 2mm longer than a worker foam, which I think helps with it in flight, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that was the claim anyway.
I wonder how a bamboo of this would go.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be bambooed. They're just that they're that consistent in the foam build quality.
Okay. All right.
Give them a go.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay, guys. So in my last video, you saw just how strong the T-Dart glue is at room temperature. You can see it's left most of the foam on the head, and it was really difficult to pull apart. A worker dart is way easier to pull apart by comparison. Today, I want to see how they compare at different temperatures that you guys might encounter outdoors during the summer. So, first of all, I've got 30 degrees Celsius, which is 86 Fahrenheit. And I'm just going to submerge a T-Dart and a worker dart into the water for about 10 minutes. They actually want to float, so I'm going to weigh them down with this piece of aluminium. Set a timer for 10 minutes, and I'll get back to you once that's done. All right, that is 10 minutes. Is the camera still going? Yep, camera's still going. All right, let's take these darts out and see how easy the heads are to rip off. Whoops, I just spilled a bunch of water onto the table. All right, let's take the T-Dart out first. How's this pull off? Oh, just as hard as before. And it's left an equal amount of foam on the head as it usually does. So now let's take the worker dart's head off. That also is about the same as usual. So I think it's time to add some more hot water in and take it up to 40. All right, here's the hottest my tap water in the house will go, which I believe is about 40. Yep, looks like it's about 40 degrees, so 104 Fahrenheit. Chuck another one of each of these in and weigh them down. And I'll see you in another 10 minutes. All right, that is 10 more minutes, and we're still sitting almost at 40 degrees. We're about, what is that, 37, 36. So let's see how they're doing. All right, we'll do the T-Dart first. I mean, that was a little easier to get off, but still left quite a bit of foam on the tip there. So compared to room temperature, has dropped a little bit in glue strength. And now for the worker dart. Still easier to get off than the T-Dart was. Keeping in mind that was 104 Fahrenheit, so I don't think most of you would be playing out in that kind of heat. But just in case some of you would be, I'm going to go boil a kettle and increase it to 50 degrees. All right, just pouring in some boiling water. Let's see if we can get this up to around 50. All right, 50 degrees Celsius, that's 122 Fahrenheit. I don't think many people would ever be playing Nerf in that kind of temperature. But let's chuck in another T-Dart and a worker dart, and of course weigh them down for another 10 minutes. See you then. All right, that is another 10 minutes. Is the camera still going? Yep. Temperature is down around 43 degrees Celsius after those 10 minutes. Let's take the darts out and see how they go, starting with the T-Dart. So that was quite a bit easier to pull off that time. There's foam left on one side of it, but most of that glue has stayed with the foam rather than the head. See if the worker dart has the same issue. I'd say the worker dart is about the same to pull off. So both of these two darts once subjected to heat in excess of 50 degrees Celsius, the glue is nowhere near as strong anymore. So what that means is don't leave your darts in a hot summer car because that can get above 50. But what we have learned is that 40 degrees and under, the glue seems to hold fine. So if you're playing above 40, yeah, your darts are gonna have a little bit of an issue there.